Most receivers need years to develop their craft, but this overlooked two-star recruit walked into the NFL and immediately dominated. So what was going on inside his mind that made it possible? Well, here's the psychology behind Justin Jefferson's rise to greatness. Jefferson's mental blueprint was forged in Destrehan, Louisiana, where he attended Destrehan High School. But understanding his psychology means understanding where it all started. Justin came from an intensely athletic family. His father, John, played college basketball, and his two older brothers, Jordan and Ricky, both had decorated careers at LSU and reached the NFL. So from day one, Justin was wired to understand what elite performance actually required. But here's where psychology gets interesting. Justin wasn't physically gifted early on. He stood just 5'7" at 125 pounds, and despite the guidance of two NFL brothers, he could only make the JV team as a safety his freshman year. He broke his elbow playing scout team that same season. 3 years into high school, and Justin still hadn't matched his brothers, which created a defining psychological fork in the road. His dream was quietly slipping away, and the weight of comparison was enormous. Yet Justin's family refused to let doubt become permanent. After x-rays of his growth plates, a doctor confirmed what they needed to hear. Justin was about to hit a massive growth spurt. That growth spurt arrived in his junior year, when Justin shot up to 6'1" and gained nearly 40 pounds, giving him a genuine shot at the varsity roster. But physical growth without mental adaptation creates its own problems. His knees constantly knotted up from the rapid development, and he ran with a noticeable limp, making him look uncoordinated and limiting his explosiveness. This is where most athletes mentally unravel. But Justin responded differently. With one final offseason standing between him and his dream, he channeled everything into deliberate preparation. He spent countless hours with his brother Jordan breaking down route running, and studied YouTube footage of NFL receivers, dissecting specific techniques to add to his own game. This process of intentional learning over passive hoping is one of the most underrated psychological separators between good athletes and great ones. And when his senior season arrived, the mental investment paid off physically. His knees cooperated, his body moved the way his mind had been rehearsing, and he became a genuinely dynamic playmaker, finishing with 49 receptions, 956 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Just a glimpse of the player his psychology was quietly building. The problem was, the outside world still hadn't caught up to what Jefferson understood about himself. Even after that remarkable senior campaign, he was still just a 2-star recruit with no major offers. Division I programs hesitated because off the field, Justin needed to complete a summer class to graduate. His father even raised the possibility of the Division II path. But this is a critical psychological moment for Jefferson, because rather than spiral into self-doubt or resentment, he found clarity. When LSU head coach Ed Orgeron told him a scholarship was waiting whenever he was ready, Justin simply did what needed to be done. He completed his summer class and became LSU's final scholarship addition in the fall of 2017. This quiet determination to handle unglamorous obstacles without fanfare is one of the most telling signs of a psychologically mature competitor. He was now an LSU Tiger, right where his brothers had stood before him. His freshman season was limited to just 2 games, but the environment was doing its work. In his sophomore year, the mask came off. Justin Jefferson had arrived. His chemistry with transfer quarterback Joe Burrow was immediate and electric. Jefferson led the Tigers with 54 receptions, 875 yards, and 6 touchdowns. What makes this psychologically significant is the instant trust Jefferson extended to a new system and a new quarterback, without ego or hesitation. He was already wired to make those around him better. And we didn't fully understand yet just how rare that quality was. But heading into the draft, the psychological warfare shifted direction. Scouts admired his production, but questioned his athleticism. Jefferson had consistently beaten defenders with crafty route running and precise footwork, rather than raw speed or brute strength. And NFL evaluators weren't sure if that translated to beating elite corners on the outside. Jefferson's response was to go to the combine and run a 4.43 40, a performance that immediately reframed the conversation. Yet doubters persisted, convinced he couldn't be a true number 1 receiver, which is why in the 2020 draft, 4 receivers were taken before him, including Jalen Reagor, who the Eagles selected 1 pick ahead of Jefferson, But with the 22nd pick, the Minnesota Vikings called his name, and Jefferson entered the league with an immediate and enormous expectation to fill the void left by fan favorite Stephon Diggs, who had just been traded away. Replacing a beloved player is one of the most psychologically suffocating situations a young receiver can face. Yet Jefferson processed it not as pressure, but as opportunity. The pandemic-altered offseason meant no preseason, fewer reps, and less preparation time. Many rookies visibly struggled to find their footing. Jefferson wasn't immune, and he didn't earn his first start until Week 3 against the Tennessee Titans. But when that moment arrived, his psychology took over. In the very first start of his NFL career, Justin Jefferson caught 7 passes for 175 yards and a touchdown, and introduced the world to his signature celebration, the gritty. What made that debut remarkable wasn't just the numbers, it was the composure, the body language of a player who had been preparing for that stage his entire life. He backed it up the very next week with a 4-reception, 103-yard performance against the Texans, making him one of the few rookies in Vikings history to record back-to-back 100-yard games as a rookie. What the numbers don't capture is the internal consistency Jefferson maintained across an entire season. After just 4 weeks and 2 starts, he had already established himself among the best pass catchers in the league. He didn't get anxious. He didn't press. He simply executed the process he had spent years building. Week 6 against Atlanta, 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Week 13 against Jacksonville, 121 yards and a score, crossing the 1,000-yard mark in just 12 games. After Week 15 against Chicago, he broke Randy Moss's Vikings rookie record for receptions. Then, in the season finale in Detroit, he set a new Super Bowl-era rookie record for receiving yards in a season. Jefferson finished the year with 88 receptions, 1,400 yards, and 7 touchdowns, was selected to the Pro Bowl, and earned second-team All-Pro honors. He finished second in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting to quarterback Justin Herbert. But the psychological foundation he laid that season was undeniable. Then, just when the league thought it understood Jefferson, he revealed that his rookie year was simply the floor. Teams spent an entire offseason studying his film, and still had no real answer. His second season showed what happens when physical eliteness meets compounding psychological maturity. He was now operating as a true wide receiver 1. Defenses schemed around him specifically, and it simply didn't matter. Jefferson found solutions on the field in real time, and in crucial moments, that ability to separate good receivers from historically great ones. In a vital Week 11 matchup with the Vikings sitting at 5-5 and their playoff hopes requiring a win against the Green Bay Packers, Jefferson did something only the psychologically elite can do. He took over a game entirely on his own terms. 8 receptions, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. Vikings win 34-31. Over the month of November, he was arguably the most dominant player in the entire NFL, posting 464 yards and 3 touchdowns across 4 games and earning NFC Offensive Player of the Month. Even as the Vikings continued losing close contests, Jefferson's individual standard never wavered. He finished that second season with 108 receptions, 1,616 yards, and 10 touchdowns, second in the league behind Cooper Kupp, and broke the record set by Odell Beckham Jr. for the most receiving yards accumulated by any player through their first 2 NFL seasons. For the second consecutive year, he earned a Pro Bowl selection and second-team All-Pro honors, narrowly missing first-team honors. Entering 2022, the Vikings brought in Kevin O'Connell, a former Rams offensive coordinator with a clear vision to put Jefferson at the absolute center of a more expansive and dynamic passing attack. The Vikings jumped out to the best start of Jefferson's career, and the entire offense was now deliberately architected around him, which is perhaps the most revealing psychological statement the organization could make.
Don't be surprised when Justin Jefferson and the Vikings make deep postseason runs.
And if the relentless psychological foundation he has built, from a 5'7" kid on the JV team to one of the most complete receivers the NFL has ever seen, tells us anything at all, Jefferson will be grittying his way straight into Canton.